Hey everybody, I'm back. It's been, 2 years since my last video? So, I'm going to try a new thing, a challenge. I'm going to try and do a video a day for the next week. I know it's sort of a YouTube cliche thing, but, I want to try some consistency. So that was a terrible intro. So we're on our way to go to the auto parts store to pick up a couple of light bulbs. Apparently my right tail light is out. I was informed of that in the parking lot. So we'll go get that taken care of before we get pulled over. Okay, we are at the auto parts store. Gonna go in and get a couple of bulbs. Gonna make sure we put the required mask on. And I'll pick you up in a minute. Okay, we're back with Mike, unmasked. I know that's terrible, but, how many times in your life are you going to be able to use that? So, we have got the bulbs. Hopefully. And we're going to go park in a quiet corner of the parking lot. Put them in. Thankfully, on the Subaru, it's just a Phillips head screw that takes out the rear tail light. Alright, we could do that. Okay, so that's done. That all took all of 2 minutes. Just 2 screws. Twist out the old bulb, twist the new one in. Something to be said for Subaru simplicity. Now we'll wait. I don't know if you can see in the frame, but there's a guy on a motorcycle, Harley Davidson, in front of me. And it just started to rain, so he's gonna get quite wet. So where did we leave off from the last video I did a while ago? I think it was we made a video on, a couple videos on a set of tires for the car, the 2013 Subaru Impreza, which I still have. Anybody cares, a quick update is that those Firestone tires had 15,000 miles on them, maybe less, and they became out of round. Not 100% sure what that means, but I have a mechanic that I really trust. Brought the car to him because nobody could diagnose a front end vibration at highway speeds, and he was able to hit the car for 3 days, and he calls me and says, well, come down and take a look at it. And so I go down. Well, I walk over. I worked right next to where his garage was, and he says, I think I got the problem solved. And I said, well, what'd you do? He said, I'm not going to tell you. He said, take the car for a ride. And so I took it for a ride, and it was smooth as can be. I bring it back to him. I said, "What'd you do to it?" He goes, "Put new tires on it." He said two of the 4 tires became out of round. It developed an issue in the sidewall or something that caused them to no longer be true. So you could balance them, and they would balance okay, because they've been balanced a dozen times. Just about, that's an exaggeration. They've probably been balanced 5 times, but nothing could solve the vibration. And it wasn't like, shake you out of the car seat vibration. It was a subtle vibration, but it drove me insane because I did a lot of highway miles. Still do. So he said the solution was to put new tires on the car. And that really, that was not a fun expense. I just spent a year and a half prior, a little less than a year and a half prior, I spent $800 and something on those Firestone tires. He sympathized, but he said that was the solution. He suggested I call Firestone, which I did, and they, of course, didn't want to do anything. They said that what they would do is put, if anything, they would prorate the tires and give me money towards new tires, but I didn't really want to go to them because I'd been to them 3 times to have the tires balanced, and they couldn't figure out the problem. So I had him put some tires on. He, sold me on a set of General Ultimax tires, and they've been very good. They've been on the car going on 2 years. At least a year and a half. And they're fine. They're good in the winter. They're quiet. And they're decent tires. And it was like $550 or $600 or something like that. So they were less than the Firestone tires, and they're perfectly round, perfectly balanced. I bring the car to him now every year, every 8 months or something like that, and he does, he rotates them and balances them, so there's no problem with the tires. But I just couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe that those tires, I've never had a problem with Firestone tires. They had a problem, and they had a problem almost since new, because the car had a vibration I just assumed was a bent wheel or a bad balance job. Those tires probably developed that issue, a month or 2 after I bought the tires. And Firestone couldn't figure it out. I think another garage, another local chain garage, looked at it, balanced the tires, said that was your problem, couldn't figure it out. The Subaru dealer, oh my god, the Subaru dealer. I've never been a fan of this local Subaru dealer. They're part of a larger automotive group. They have Toyota and Hyundai and Nissan and Subaru, and there's 1 or 2 others in there that I'm forgetting. But I brought the car to them, and they said it was the bushings. All the body bushings and all the sway bar bushings and all that. They said those were all rotted out and loose, and that was the problem, and it was going to be, $1,200 in parts and labor to replace that, and that would solve all my vibration issues. So I couldn't accept that. The car only had 65,000 miles on it at the time. And so I brought it to the mechanic down the street from where I worked, who everybody said was, one of the best mechanics they've ever worked with. He's pricey, but well worth every penny. And he goes, there's not a thing wrong with any of the bushings. I got down, I physically inspected each one, There's not a problem with it. So, and then you find out the problem with the tires. So, the Subaru dealer was going to charge me $1,200 to replace things that didn't need to be replaced and wasn't going to solve the problem. And I'd still end up having to spend another $600 on tires after that to solve the problem. I was getting ready to sell the car and buy another car and get a Volvo or something. You know, something that was solid. But the local mechanic, the one I went to, his name is Bob, he fixed the problem. So ever since then, I've not been a fan of the Subaru dealer, and I wasn't a fan of the Toyota dealer of the same company when I had a Toyota. When my mother had a Toyota RAV4, she still has. They really screwed that car up. It had an oil consumption recall and basically required rebuilding the top end of the engine, and they put it back together wrong, and it vibrated and vibrated and vibrated. I mean, it was like driving in a diesel tractor. And she took it back time and time again. They said, oh, it's normal, it's normal, it's normal. I finally took it to them and said, look, this is not normal. I need the service advisor, I need the service manager and the mechanic to get in the car and take a drive. We drove a few minutes, and they go, yeah, you know, something's not right. This really shouldn't be shaking this much. Well, it turns out he put the timing in wrong, or, you know, he did something wrong to it, and they ended up having to rebuild the entire engine. They had the car for almost a week. And that was only because we threatened a lawyer. So, I'm not a huge fan of that dealership. So that's the story of the tires that nobody wanted to know. So, there you go. Other than that, I've started a new job with the same company. Just a different location. I'm running our new flagship location. One of our dogs, one of the 4 dogs we have, passed away this past January, and that was really sad. That was really difficult to get over, but still have my 3, and, you know, we spent a lot more time with them, because the beagle that passed away was rather suddenly. So, but now you're all caught up in my life. I'm sure that checks a box off for somebody. In front of me, there is a Mercedes C-Class that is just doing the speed limit, and oh my god, I hate those people. 35 and a 35. What a terrible thing to do. There's a sign on a lawn back there, big, like, sheet of plywood put into the ground that says yes with an exclamation point. Yes to what? Yes to pink flamingos on their lawn? Yes to sodomy? Who knows? Just says yes, exclamation point. I mean, they're really excited about yes. I have half a mind to go back and ask them what it is. Let's put a sign that says no next to it. Big question mark. Stake it right into the ground. Talk about a show about nothing. Seinfeld's got nothing on me. Alright, we gotta get away from this car. You know, one of my least favorite parts about this car is that when you go to accelerate, it makes a lot of noise, a big production. It doesn't actually move. I mean, it sounds like you get that torquey little 4-cylinder boxer engine puts out a little grunt, and it sounds like it's going places, but it's not. I've said it time and time and time again. this car should come from the factory with 50 more horsepower. It shouldn't be a special package. It shouldn't be a WRX option. It should just be, this car needs 200 horsepower. It's heavy. It's rather wide and large for, compact car segment. And it's got full-time, all-wheel drive that puts a lot of driveline drag on. Subaru, if you're listening, please, 200 horsepower is what this car needs. Or, if you really want to make me happy, bring back a WRX wagon. Like a WRX Outback or something. A WRX Crosstrek, I'd buy one of those. And don't go, I know the comment's going to be, oh, Subaru's coming out with one with 182 horsepower from the Forester. Oh, whoop-de-doo. 182 horsepower. Woo! The thing weighs what? 3,300 pounds? Needs a 280 horsepower, turbocharged, 4-cylinder engine in a Crosstrek platform. That's what it needs. Don't go, oh, it's the new global platform from Subaru. They can't do that. It won't fit in the engine bay. Oh, baloney. I once watched a guy park a V8 very, very close to a dune buggy and called it a V8 dune buggy. But don't tell me you can't fit a turbocharged WRX engine into an Outback. You can fit it into the Impreza. It's the same car. So I'd like to do more traveling and more adventures and that sort of stuff, and bring you guys along for the ride. So if anybody has any suggestions on like rooftop tents for the car, I've got a roof rack, I got crossbars, or like an ultra lightweight trailer, like ultra lightweight, like 700 pounds lightweight, because that's all I'm really invested in towing in this thing. Because they say Subaru doesn't recommend towing with the Impreza in the US, but the same car with the same transmission and the same engine, actually, it's got a less powerful engine overseas, can tow 2,400 pounds. But here in the States, you put a bicycle rack on and that's pushing the limits here, ladies and gentlemen. But if anybody has any recommendations on either of those, the tent or an ultra lightweight like tent trailer, or like a fiberglass teardrop trailer, I'll listen. Post it in the comments. I'd love to just get out and travel with the dogs, in an isolated kind of world that we live in now. You really can't safely travel and go to a hotel, which it's hard to do with dogs anyway, especially 3 dogs. It's impossible. There's places, there's state forests and stuff where you can go and rent a cabin, and they'll let you take your dog, and that's always fun. But I sort of want to just be able to take a week off of work and drift and find a spot, pull over, either a campground or, somewhere, and sleep, get up, and go at it the next morning. So, let me know. I know some of you are watching, hopefully, in areas where there's actual traffic. So when I complain about 6 cars that have to pass before I can turn onto the road, you just want to slap me through the computer. I get it. But that's why I can't live in a major city or, a real metropolitan area, because I would go insane. I'm not made for taking public transport. I'm not made for taking Uber. I need to have my car, and I need to drive it. So that's why I can't that's why I can't live in cities. They're fun to visit, but you go insane just trying to park. Alright, well, I think you guys have had enough fun and excitement for one day. So I'm going to sign off here and, check in, because I'm going to try and make a video every day for the next week, and we'll continue it. I don't know. I know this is not exciting or, fun, but it'll get better. It's sort of a learning journey. I'm not really a super outgoing person, so this might help me, and maybe you guys might get a chuckle out of it. If you got any ideas for cool things to do or videos to things to talk about, let me know. Put them in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. All right, bye.